Yes, we're back with another episode, another writer. Today we have a scriptwriter in the house, and his name's Billy or Bob, and that's, you know, the Q for anonymous. So Billy Bob, how did you get into script writing?
Oh, I just always knew I wanted to do it.
Really?
I was watching TV. Well, I don't know. Growing up, I was never good at football and all that. I know we've spoken a bit about,
Gym, women,
and I grew up
and
with a
money.
disability, and so I spent a lot of time watching other kids doing things.
Okay.
And spent a lot of time in my imagination and reading books and loved television. And yeah, I just decided quite young it was what I wanted to do.
Can we ask, what was the disability?
Like MS, it's called CMT, and I actually had the wrong diagnosis for a while.
Oh, okay.
It affected my mobility, but the important thing is I was told by my parents. You know, I could have probably pushed myself a bit further, but I grew up knowing that I wouldn't be able to do everything I wanted to do, and that took a more mental toll than a physical one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Sometimes as parents, we mess up slightly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's those kind of things.
I don't think my parents messed up with that.
Okay.
You know, no one's fault.
All right, fair enough. That's good.
Yeah.
I'll just probably think about myself there as a parent.
Are you a parent?
Yeah,
How old are your kids?
I got 4 kids,
Right.
29, 18, 7 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've been a busy boy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So when was the first time that you realised this is what it's all about for me, script writing?
I mean, when I was 14, I sent what I thought was a script to the BBC. In hindsight, it was a bullshit sort of short story, but I wrote a fake episode of Doctor Who and sent it to them.
Mm.
And I just knew I wanted to do it.
What was their response, if at all?
They didn't respond.
This went in the round filing
I probably
cabinet.
sent it to the wrong person. I just
Yeah.
sent it to like the general email.
Okay. So for future purposes, if
Yeah.
someone did write a script and was in your position,
Yeah.
who would they send it to in BBC? Is there a person or a department?
They've got a wonderful thing called BBC Writers Room.
Okay.
Which is where they find new talent and train it. And they normally have an open call 6 months a year for comedy, 6 months a year for drama, where you can send a script and they'll read it and get in touch, give you feedback. It's great.
Okay.
BBC Writers Room, that is.
So, yeah, we will write that down in a bit when we post it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, what was the first kind of project that you worked on?
Professional or like?
Well, no, you're starting from we're going through the stages.
Through the stages.
So, before we even get into that,
Yeah.
you were in school,
Yeah.
you're 14, you wrote this script.
Yeah.
You realised you wanted to do script writing. Did you get a mentor? Did you follow anybody?
Yes. Mainly in the theatre, because I grew up in London and went on a school trip, and just by Googling and looking at the Wikipedias of all the writers I admired, I realised lots of them had started in theatre and had written plays. And so I went, took my Oyster cards, saw lots of theatre, found playwrights who I liked, and then I'd email them, reach out to them. And then there was also a teacher at school who knew I was doing this and gave me things to read, gave me recommendations,
Mm-hmm.
and put me in touch with a theatre called the Royal Court in London. And then I joined their youth schemes, so it was kind of a mixture of mentors from school and then mentors who I sought out, honestly with a bit of chutzpah at a young age. I should have really, you know, I'd be a bit weirded out if a 14-year-old emailed me out of the blue now. But luckily the people who I emailed weren't. And
Well, it depends on what they're emailing.
yeah.
Because if this is really creative, you could be the next Einstein, or you know, I don't know any script writers. That's why. Sorry, that's why I said things. Shakespeare. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is a script writer for a thing, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't even think of that. But well, I suppose you know this, that the rumor is that Shakespeare just took other people's stories and put them together. Is that true?
Yeah, in some capacity. Like, it was a different culture of writing stories at that time. So the story of Hamlet isn't original. It was based on an older story of Hamlet, which in turn lots of other playwrights did their own versions of. Just as Romeo and Juliet, you'll find 50 Romeo and Juliets out there by different playwrights. terms of adaptation, people didn't really feel like stories belonged to people
Okay.
who were copyrighted in the same way as they are now.
Yeah. And I suppose the story of forbidden love is a timeless story.
Absolutely.
Because whether it's race, religion, caste, whatever, it's always the same. Somebody loves somebody and some other people are upset about it. So you got this mentor, and then what did they tell you what route you need to take?
They just told me to keep doing it, to keep practicing. They told me the right people to send plays to, but also they encouraged me to go to Oxford and to really, try and invest in my education, because that was going to be the place where I'd meet people who wanted to do similar things.
So Oxford.
People who'd fund it, and I didn't go to the kind of school where they send people to Oxford all the time. So I wouldn't have really thought about doing it.
Okay.
If I weren't pushed.
So you're a working class guy then?
Not working class, I wouldn't push it that way. But
Okay.
I went to state school.
I was going to say I thought you was one of us. All right, then you're not. You're better than I said. Okay. I said, no, I am working class. Listen, don't listen
No, I
to
don't
him.
want to do my parents.
What did your parents do?
So my dad is a psychologist.
Oh, well, you're not working
And my
class.
mum
Yeah.
runs her own business now, but is a freelancer, so she's self-employed.
Okay, that's good.
They're
Right.
divorced, and it was.
Oh, well, it happens, isn't it? Yeah. I'm self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a taxi driver.
How do you feel about that? Because I know they.
Changed it to worker.
Yeah, if you were a cabbie, or like black cab driver,
Yeah.
you'd be employed or no?
Self-employed.
Self-employed. But the idea is you don't work for Uber, so they don't have to give you all the.
Yeah, well,
Rights and stuff.
because what it is, Uber's taking a cut. So if Uber wasn't taking a cut of our money, because that system set up different from a black taxi driver. So during lockdown, black taxi drivers just stopped working because there was no way they could get money.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked throughout the lockdown because I had a digital platform that was international or national in our case, and who would just throw me jobs. Tell me there's a job over there, go and get it. There's a job here,
Right.
go in there, and there's a commission in it. So that's probably why the government, the courts came to that conclusion. Well, this person can't work without your input.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I don't know. Actually, I was one of the people who was like, "Why are you taking Uber to court? You know the rules when you knew the rules when you signed up." And then when I got the money, went, "Hey, yeah, well done, guys. I had your back all the way. Yeah, got any more issues? I'm with you. Yeah." That's how that story went. This silly bollocks me doesn't know anything. But yeah. So back to you. What acting? So you went to Oxford University.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you spoke about theatres, but you're not like, I've interviewed loads of actors, and I've
Right.
interviewed directors for Emmerdale Farm, Coronation Street, EastEnders.
You've got to put me in touch with them.
Yeah, and if you listen to them, they're on the thing. I'm not sure if he put his email out there, but I've got his email. I can always send him an email. So I've got a really good script writer. Are you interested?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just give me your best script or
love that,
CV. I can remember me. I'm the guy who harassed you into an interview in the car. But he was a working class guy. So he said, he was telling me his story, how he made it and dealing with the middle and upper class echelons. Because obviously,
saturated.
So, and which is interesting, which brings me on to Top Boy. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
So
I haven't seen the latest season.
Okay, what do you think about that as a script writer?
I think it's exceptional. I think it's remarkably structured.
It's really British, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I've been living in America, and they love it as well.
Oh, they've been watching it there.
Yeah, and the area I lived in America, it's not entirely comparable to where Top Boy is set. But the people, whenever I tell people there that I'm from London, it's the first thing they say, and then I don't know. I think it's changed people's perceptions of the city in quite a good way. Obviously not.
Where it's not, they don't think it's just tea and crumpets anymore.
Exactly, they get to see
That's it.
slightly more recognisable.
No wonder they have knife crime.
Well, we don't have guns, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, in the show there's a lot of guns.
Yeah, but not to the same extent as what I'm worried about in the States.
Now, a bit of controversial moment. I'm interested to hear what you have to say on this. Ashley Walters, I thought it was his show, as in he script wrote it, but it turns out he didn't. And there's a English Irish man or something like that who wrote it, and he come out with a comment that it probably would have been better if a black person had script wrote it, because of the third season was vastly different from the second and the first, but it's the same script writer throughout.
Yeah.
So I looked at that, the third season, and I try not to give away anything. It's like the powers that be put their political spin on to say crime doesn't pay. Do you see what I mean? Where if it was written by somebody who was from that environment or even understood that environment, then it would have probably come out a different version of the story.
Right.
But what do you think about that? Because before you answer that, Denzel made a statement that Mark Scorsese, as an Italian, did Goodfellas and all those. As an Italian, he understood his community and his people. Steven Spielberg did Schindler's List. As a Jewish person, he's taught about his history and all of that.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that comment?
I'm not sure, because I mean, these shows aren't made by a single vision or a single voice, right? There's a big difference between theatre and TV. TV is much more made by committee. You're going to get 10, 20 sets of notes normally. And there's no saying what the show would have looked like. I don't know if race would have been the biggest difference in how the show would have been. They had a different writer. I think things like personal taste and personal politics probably have more bearing. And as for reading the politics into the show, I'm always slightly apprehensive at looking at a work of fiction or a piece of entertainment or art even, and saying that this is endorsing this or rejecting that. But I can definitely see why that would be convincing, particularly the portrayal of crime. But yeah, I have no strong feelings because I know how much hard work, sweat, blood and tears goes into making these things.
You don't want to burn any bridges in case someone recognises your voice. No, I understand. I do. I do.
In general, like, I wouldn't.
Someone put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
The guy did say he did give it his all.
Yeah.
And with all the actors, and when I think when Ashley Waters did make that statement, he wasn't talking about the actors would be different people.
Right.
He was talking in more of how the actors would have behaved, because at the season 1 and season 2 didn't correlate with season 3 and their behaviour. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
There was
a bit of a gap, right, between.
Yeah.
It was quite a long period of time.
Because there was politics. After the first one, no one wanted them to do it again. And then that rapper, the Canadian rapper guy, I forgot his name, my son loves him.
Right.
Yeah, Drake. Drake saw it and endorsed it to say, we got to make a number 2. Yeah.
It's weird, Drake has been producing a lot of TV lately.
Well, it's money, isn't it? Money in TV. Look at 50 Cent. And 50 Cent, I think he has an input in writing his, I'm not sure, you probably know more, but he's written loads of all gang stuff, organised crime being him, but he's written loads of stuff. How was your journey from when you hit uni to where you are today?
What was my journey? Well, crucially, it's not been that long. It's been just over 3 years since I left uni, my undergrad degree. While I was at uni, I did a lot of drama and had a fair bit of success in setting up a theatre company and staging my own plays, which then took me to New York, where I went to film school. Went to New York University, studied there for 2 years, which is where I got a whole new generation of mentors and people who were actually working in the industry and looking for people to hire. And that was a really good course because it was very practical. It wasn't, learning theory. It was, I left there with, I think, 7 screenplays, 5 plays, a couple sort of audio dramas and things under my belt as a portfolio.
You're not playing around, are you? How old are you?
I'm 25.
You're doing really well.
Well, I said I've written all these things. Anyone can consider typing a laptop. It's,
yeah, but
the hard thing is getting it read and finding the people who share your taste and want to invest in your vision.
okay.
And that's been beginning to happen a bit, but it's been a big realization how slow these things move and how much COVID has impacted the industry. Right now in America, we're all on strike anyway.
Okay.
So I'm back here.
But isn't it a bit like being a podcaster or an influencer? You just need one hit,
Yes.
and then the flood doors open. You'll get bombarded with people
Yes,
saying,
lots of podcasters I've seen do migrate into writing TV, and saw that big play in the West End right now, the Ghost Story one. The bloke who wrote that started off podcasting about true horror. But I guess the difference is with podcasting, you know, you can just do it. You're doing it now. You're putting out content. To put something together in TV or screen, it requires so much money and crew and teams and people who all want to have a stake or some kind of interest that, you know, it's very easy to develop a proof of concept or to write a script, to, you know, put together even, you know, with an iPhone sort of budget version of what it might look like. But to try and actually get it realised and made, and to be at a point where you can have an underground hit, already requires so much collaboration and assistance and people saying yes with not just their words but also their wallets.
I interviewed a guy who wrote a script when he was 13 or 14, and he took it to Hollywood. He took it to various places in London, and they wouldn't even answer the door.
Yeah.
And then he went to Hollywood, and he said, the good thing with Hollywood, you either get 60 seconds or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody's interested in you for 60 seconds or 3 minutes. And if you get 60 seconds, you have to push that to 2 minutes by what you're saying, and then you push it to 3 minutes, and then they say sit down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he
That's
said
my
he's
experience.
got films. He's got films on Amazon and some other channel, I think Disney.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because of what it's on the podcast, so you can check it out.
I'm definitely listening to more reviews.
Yeah, you can check it out, and Shane, I'll take your details at the end of this, and I'll send you these things just in case you can't get. Yeah, or you could just tap your phone on it, and it will send you transfer the link. The link goes through. Don't ask me how. It's NFC cards. It's more technology than I understand. So, what does the future hold for you, my friend?
Oh, there's no telling. If I knew, I don't know if I'd be happy, but I'm waiting for the strike to end in America so I can go back. That's a big thing. I'm hoping to have something made in the next couple of years. There's some early signs that that's working out. I'm going to stage a play this year. I'm going to try to take something to Edinburgh. But that's, you know, what my professional life looks like. But I've spent so much time focusing on my professional life and my career.
Well, that's what you
Also
do,
beginning
though.
to wonder if I'm wasting my 20s a bit.
No, you're not.
Other priorities. I'm gonna.
Beyonce said, and I'm not a fan of Beyonce. I'm sorry, ladies. Yeah, and everybody else who loves her. She said when she was young, all her friends were out partying, talking about this and talking about that, and she was jogging with her dad and her sister and having to sing and doing it, and her mum was sorting out for outfits and, you know, choreography and all that stuff.
Right.
And she missed the whole of her teens and her 20s or whatever it was. But now when she looks back on it, she'd do it all again exactly the same.
Yeah. But she's Beyonce, you know.
No, but wait, so what are you? I don't see any difference with you. I see a young I see a young guy, and I speak to you as not in patronising way. You're younger than my son. I see a young guy who's doing very, very well.
Thank you.
And regardless of your health issues, you're pushing on. You found something you love, and you run with it. And I say, run with it, run with it, run with it, because by the time you get to your 30s, you'll look back and that was fast, and you'll be established.
Yeah.
And then the only problem will be finding a woman who genuinely likes you.
Genuinely is
Because women have a style. I'm gonna get Jim for this. Women don't find a man with money. It doesn't matter how ugly or whatever you are, they can fix you up. They can work with that as long as you got money. Yeah. But anyway, we're getting off subject.
Right. money in screenwriting or
Yeah.
playwriting, mate.
No, but screenwriters, you lot get paid a lot, don't you?
The ones who make it big. But,
Thank you. You see.
the majority do not. The majority who make it even are making it big. Because you have to do it for love. It's not a rewarding industry. You don't get out of it what you put in. So much of it is like you have to really love doing it, I find.
Well, I did interview Tom Cruise's cameraman,
No way.
and his dad is the bodyguard for Tom Cruise, and that's how he
Wow.
became the cameraman.
It
So I
must
could
be
send him a
nice.
link, say, this is a script, it's got to be really good. What do you think? Maybe Tom will like this. And then I went half, bitch, I went half. Yeah. No, I'd just be happy to have helped you, to be honest, because I'm not in the acting thing. But no, I do why, you throw some things your way, connect you to some people, see where it goes. You're doing your thing and your heart's in it. So why not?
Art is in it.
Yeah. So just make it work.
If it wasn't, there'd be no.
Uh,
It's not a 9 to 5 in that way, but it's all consuming. And yeah, I'll find my woman, I'll find my life, I'll make it work.
yeah, that's the spirit. That's the spirit of things. What would be your advice to a younger person who wants to go down the road that you're going? And also, what have you learned so far that you wish you knew when you had started in this industry?
Wow. I guess my advice would be to just keep doing it, keep practicing, take your craft seriously, and write the kinds of things that you'd want to see, not the kinds of things that you think other people want you to make, because ultimately there's probably enough of that out there already. It's your voice which makes you unique. As for something I wish someone told me, just to take myself a bit less seriously, but take the work a bit more seriously. I think lots of times people get imposter syndrome, or they struggle with feeling inadequate, and it's normally because they've got an idea of themselves which doesn't quite match what they're actually capable of doing. And I was paralyzed by that for a long time, but as soon as I just conceptualized myself as on a journey, someone who's might not be writing great things now, but is getting better and will one day. Once you position yourself on a trajectory and a forward path instead of having arrived fully formed, it becomes much easier to take risks, much easier to work without fear of failure, and much easier to write things which are more authentic and true to what you like and your taste. And I suppose that's something I wish I knew going in, because I spent too much time writing things and worrying about things and people who were never going to reward me. So yeah.
Well, that's been great. For obvious reasons, Billy Bob, I cannot ask you where people can find you, but we can.
Alright, one day they'll find me.
Yeah, but we can wish you well
Yes.
in all future dealings in life.
Yes.
So thanks to having you.
Best Uber ride I've taken.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.